Hello there, future people, and welcome to Great Uncle John's weekly video log number 22. This is June the 10th, 2018. We'll start out with some sad news on the home front. I learned this week that my cousin was struck by a car on his bicycle on the way home from work and died later in hospital, and my thoughts go out to his mother and family and friends. Here in Ottawa, it was a great and warm late spring week in the nation's capital. We had a yard sale yesterday, the first time ever for Caro, apparently, in a very long time for me indeed. It was a very interesting event, sort of like trick or treat for adults. They came in clots from 8 a.m. when we were setting up until it started to peter off around 2. We packed up, having converted our ill-considered past purchases into pocket change. It is funny, our neighbors stayed away for the most part, but the parade of humanity on car, foot, and bicycle was quite impressive. Lots of people just wanting to stop by and really just shoot the shit for 20 minutes or so, talking about whatever, like one guy who wanted to talk about how accomplished the Marx Brothers were as musicians. We gave away a microwave to a Syrian refugee who was setting up house, and that made us feel like the whole day was just one big altruistic venture, which in a way it was. We just wanted to clear out some of the accumulated junk that we had gathered over the years, and I was ashamed to put on display in her driveway, but we spent a day in the hot sun discussing my drinking habits with an elderly gentleman, a veteran of the Lebanese army whose English was rudimentary but who was curious about how everything worked, or the other old gentleman who almost lost his mind when he saw our strawberry patch and promised Caro that he would be back later after the fruiting to get a plant. And then there were the mean people, sort of serious and angry and confrontational. Why isn't there a giraffe with this coffee maker? Where is it? Honestly, we just wanted to clear some space, the first step in our minimalist fantasy. And some people got some amazing deals. I had a couple of decent guitars and practice amps that I could have done better with in Kijiji if I had invested some time. But anyway, we're going to take another run at it in the fall, this time featuring tools I never use. So before moving on to the Ford-tastic election here in Ontario, I have to show you this. Crickets. Can you see that? Look at that. Crickets. They're selling powdered crickets as sort of a smoothie supplement in aisle 7 at the grocery store. 100% crickets. Powdered grillon. High in protein. Excellent source of vitamin B, which I guess stands for bug. Farmed here in Canada. President's Choice brand. Interesting. This must have been in the Dragon's Den or something at one point. It's expensive, though. It's $15 for 113 grams, and I bought this just out of curiosity. I'm going to make something out of it. I'll do a YouTube video and sort of do a review of the product. But it is kind of pricey for a protein supplement. But the idea of eating insects fascinates me. I ate crickets in Mexico, chapulines tacos, chapulines, in Cancun, and quite enjoyed them. I support the industrial exploitation of insects as a protein source. Stay tuned, and I will have a YouTube review of this product soon. So back to Ontario. Doug Ford, trampling on all my predictions and hopes, cruised to an impressive majority victory in Ontario. We'll see how that works out. I'm not feeling that apocalyptic about it. I honestly don't think he will give in to the darker populist urges to maintain power. And I don't think he would have the support of the party to do that. This was more of a turfing of Wynne and the stinky Liberals than any kind of populist uprising. The NDP did well, and it was nice to see the Greens take a seat. In the bigger world, they just wrapped up the G7, and Trump played the role of a cross between, I guess, Jackie Gleason and the Manchurian Candidate. He wanted to have Russia readmitted to the G7, and that seemed to be his main objective. It was so weird, so much like he's a Russian agent. It was also odd watching him go after Trudeau in his tweets afterwards, after he left early from the summit, and with his surrogates on network TV just attacking Trudeau. I'm happy to see that we're taking the high ground. We're not tweeting back. We're actually acting like adults, and Canada has to tread carefully. We have no choice but to be close friends and buddies with the Americans. But we do stand with the rest of the sane world in opposing Trump. I totally support Trudeau's position on this. We'll see how Trump's bizarre trade war works out for him. I guess you already know, future people. Maybe Trump's a genius, and this has made America rich and prosperous beyond your dreams, and the rest of us are trying to catch up. What else? So he's having his meeting with Kim in a couple of days, and just like the Pope, I hope it works out for the sake of the Koreas and the rest of the world. Anthony Bourdain killed himself this week, and that was shocking and saddening, and managed to cut through almost all the other media noise. Depression is devastating. I can't honestly remember any other crap that went on in Trumpistan over the last week. And in Canada, the Senate passed the marijuana legislation, so now it goes back to the House. They expect legislation may be in place by the fall. My marijuana stocks, after spiking in January, fell precipitously and then have now stabilized over the last couple of months. This chart is for Fivita Holdings, which I have a few shares in. They make a CBD drink, and personally I feel that infused products, foods and drinks and the like, are going to be the future of cannabis. I think smoking has gone the way of Cheech and Chong. But this chart's pretty indicative of what I see in all of the marijuana stocks. They all had this bizarre spike in January and then trailed off, but now have stabilized. We'll see if they start climbing again once legalization is in place. Ford has promised that marijuana can be sold privately in dispensaries and stores. So did he stick to that promise, future people? Has all this worked out? Is everyone rich? Are the Koreas unified? Has Trump and his crew found justice? I don't, so I will be back next week with a little bit more knowledge. I'm going to Rockfest this coming week, next Thursday, and this is about, the 5th or 6th time I've been to Rockfest, and it's always fun. I know I'm a bit old for it, but that's okay. We don't have a room at the Chateau Montebello this year, so it's not going to be quite as comfortable. We're going to do some private camping outside of town, so that way at least we'll be able to pull up and dump our gear and leave without having all the hassles of security and stuff. We'll see how that works out. Anyway, hopefully we'll have some good video from that to entertain you with next week. Take care. See you in 7 days or whenever you future people want to watch the next episode.